If you've been thinking about getting an e-bike, you probably noticed there's no shortage of choices out there. One brand that's been making some serious waves is Cyrusher, and they've been back with an updated, tougher than ever step-through model. It's been built to turn heads and maybe even change your mind if you're still on the fence. This is the Cyrusher Kommoda 2.0. This unique looking beast is a step-through bike with a bit of a rugged streak to it. It certainly looks like it's designed for people who want something more than just a cruise ride. The 2.0 upgrade from the first gen version of this bike steps things up with a new air shock that smooths out bumps rather well. Paired with a solid 250 watt hub motor, it's got the comfort and power to handle rough terrains or city streets without breaking a sweat. It's basically built to turn everyday rides into effortless little adventures. And by that I mean you can practically take this thing anywhere with you. So the burning question is this product truly worth the asking price? Well, let's first start by unboxing it. Now, as you'd expect, there is a bit of assembly involved when unboxing, but nothing too complicated, so I won't get into too much detail here. There are a few extras tucked into the box too, which is a nice touch. Overall though, the setup is pretty straightforward and shouldn't take too long to get the bike ready for its first use. Now let's take a quick look around the bike itself because yeah, it's definitely a head turner, there's no doubt about it. The design's bold, maybe even a bit much for some, but for others that's exactly what makes it stand out in a good way. And I really think that was the main aim here. The size of the Kommoda is pretty unique, at least in my opinion. It looks a lot bigger than it actually is, especially with the fat tyres and full suspension, but it's actually more compact than most bikes with similar features. There are other e-bikes with this general shape and fat tyres, but they usually skip the full suspension. So yeah, the Kommoda 2.0 stands out as a bit of an oddball, but in my opinion, it's in a good way. I do actually think the step-through design is very attractive for a lot of reasons. No matter really your experience level with e-bikes or even your height, if you're just looking for something that's easy to hop on and off, this frame actually really delivers. Now, one of the first things I noticed when riding this bike was just how comfortable it felt. A big part of that is down to the air shock. It is a noticeable upgrade from your standard spring setup. It smooths out all those little jolts you usually get when riding over potholes or even just uneven pavements. And that really goes for the seat too. It's nicely cushioned without feeling bulky or weirdly shaped, and after a couple of longer rides, I wasn't dealing with the usual sore tailbone situation. I think it strikes a good balance between being soft enough to be comfy, but firm enough to support you over time. So what more can you really ask for? The 20x4 fat tyres help towards the overall suspension too. They seem to be a key part of what makes this bike rather versatile and comfortable to ride. First off, the width gives you a ton of stability. Whether you're riding on pavements, gravel, grass, sand, or even snow, these tyres have enough surface area and grip to keep you feeling secure. You just don't get that wobbly, twitchy feeling you sometimes get with skinnier tyres, especially at lower speeds or uneven grounds. Another huge perk is that cushioning effect. These fat tyres naturally absorb a lot of the little bumps and vibrations in the road. And when you pair with the air shock and the cushioned seat, it almost feels like those bumps are barely noticeable. Now obviously this design choice is not going to be for everyone, but to maintain the Kommoda's ability to be versatile on almost any terrain, well, these tyres are a must. Now when it comes to the hydraulic disc brakes on this model, I think these are quite a big deal, especially because this is on the heavier side of the e-bike market. And with that, I have to admit they were rather responsive, powerful, and maybe most importantly, quite reliable. The moment you lightly pull the lever, you can feel the bike react. It's not grabby or abrupt, it's smooth and controlled. So when you are going at a slightly fast speed, it's nice to get a smooth stop, not a complete abrupt one. I've tested them on a few hills, wet pavements, and even some loose gravel, and as a whole, they have done a really good job. It's now been 2 weeks of heavy usage and they seem to be holding up really well. And as I said earlier, with a bike like this, I really think that's what you need. Now the Shimano 7-speed drivetrain on this plays a big role in how smooth and adaptable the Kommoda 2.0 feels on surfaces. The bike uses a 7-speed system, which is one of the most widely used setups in the e-bike world, but for good reasons. It's reliable, easy to maintain, and offers just enough range for most types of riding. Whether you're cruising on flat roads, climbing a hill, or just trying to find a chilled ride, there's always a gear that seems to fit. The shifting itself is pretty clean and intuitive. You've got a simple thumb shifter that lets you cycle through gears without any fuss, no clunky clicks or lag, just quick transitions that actually feel rather smooth, even when shifting under some pressure. I've tested it both with and without pedal assist, and it's responsive either way. Now pair those 7 gears with 5 levels of pedal assist and you've got a ton of flexibility. This combo means you're never locked into one speed or cadence. If you want to get more out of your workout, you can simply drop the assist level and shift to a lower gear, and that will make the ride much harder, and you'll certainly start feeling it after dragging the nearly 38kg frame around. One of the biggest upgrades on the 2.0, and something you really notice once you start riding, is the addition of a torque sensor. If you've only used cadence-based pedal assist before, this is a bit of a game changer. When you pair that with its now 250-watt rear hub motor, which might sound modest on paper, but in practice, it packs more punch than you'd expect, especially when paired with the bike's torque sensor and high-capacity battery. Instead of just turning the motor on when you start pedaling, the torque sensor actually measures how hard you're pressing on the pedals. So the harder you push, the more assistance it gives, and then vice versa if you're just cruising or soft pedaling. It eases off a bit. The result is a rather smooth, more natural feeling power delivery. It's not jerky or overly aggressive, and it doesn't feel like the bike is trying to take off without you. Instead, it feels like an extension of your own efforts, if that makes sense. I noticed it especially on hills. With a cadence sensor, there's often a half a second delay while the system realizes you're pedaling harder, but by that time you've already lost momentum. But with the torque sensor, the bike reacts with you, not after you. And I can't deny that responsiveness makes climbing feel much more natural and manageable. It's more than enough for everyday riding. It handles city commutes, light hills, and mixed terrains with ease. On steeper climbs, you might need to downshift and put in a bit more effort, but it never feels like the motor is struggling or lagging behind. Now let's quickly talk about the battery, because it's a big part of what makes the Kommoda 2.0 such a solid choice for everyday use and longer adventures. It comes with a 48V 20A removable battery, which is one of the higher capacity batteries you'll find in a class of e-bike like this. The manufacturer claims a mileage of 68 on a full charge, but I'll be honest, that is definitely optimistic. In real-world testing, I found it more in the ballpark of about 40 miles under typical conditions. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's still pretty solid, especially considering the bike's performance. But it is good to keep expectations in check. If you're planning on longer rides, you might want to plan a recharge or take it easy on the higher assist levels to stretch out that range. Still, it delivers a good amount of distance for most day-to-day riding, so I'm not complaining there. So I guess the real question is, who's the Kommoda 2.0 really for? Well, if you're someone who wants a comfortable, versatile e-bike that can handle a mix of terrain without being too heavy or complicated, this bike is a rather decent fit. Obviously, this isn't the kind of bike you're going to toss in the back of your car or easily fold up for a train ride. But honestly, if you're checking out this bike, portability probably isn't a top priority for you. Honestly, with its size and weight, it's not really ideal for those kind of situations, so I wouldn't recommend it if you need something ultra portable. So should you buy it? Well, it certainly won't compete with the top-of-the-line mountain e-bikes on the market at the moment, or go for crazy long-range rides. But for most bikers looking for something practical, fun, and well-rounded, it checks a lot of boxes. And with that all said, be sure to check this product out in the link in the description. Let me know what you think. Till next time.